I was born blind. Now, thanks to a surgery, I can see. Ask me anything. By the way, I'm sorry if I'm not answering some questions. When I see questions that are similar to those I have already answered many times, I skip them. Sorry. On the plus side, you do see the questions now. Any thoughts on your penis? I feel if I was blind and saw my own penis for the first time, I'd be pretty damn confused. Lol. I had touched it, of course, if you know what I mean, but when I saw it, I thought it looked funny and I was laughing at it when I was alone. Serious question. Always wondered. How do you know when to stop wiping? Congrats BTW smile. Well, I just continued wiping until I was sure I was clean. It's generally not too difficult to tell when you're clean based on how it feels. Essentially you just pay attention to how easily toilet paper slides across your butt. Rougher glide is cleaner. That might sound ridiculous, but that's how I did it. What was the first thing you saw? And now that you've seen so many things, what was the first thing you wished you saw? Now I kind of wish I had seen the faces of my loved ones first, but they were standing aside from me to not bother the doctor. What did you think of your family when you first saw them? Did you picture how they would look like when you were blind? If so, do they fit your mental picture? My parents have let me touch their faces, so I had some thoughts about what they might look like, but they turned out to be completely different, just like everything else. They were smiling and I thought that they're all really nice. What kind of surgery was it and how did it work? What were your first impressions when you were able to see? Very emotional. I was crying for a good while. It was a laser surgery to remove the abnormal blood vessels in my retina. How did it feel to see yourself in the mirror for the first time? Congratulations, by the way, smile. I'm so happy for you, thanks. It was weird because people had described to me what I looked like, and from feeling my body I thought I was a bit chubby and had large hands and feet, and when I actually saw myself, I was like, wow, a nice guy, but that's not what I thought I looked like at all. That's so awesome. I'm sure people describing how things looked to you before you got the surgery was a hard concept to grasp, like I've seen people try to describe what it is like to be blind to people who aren't blind. I've heard it's not darkness, but almost like if you held your hand over your eyes. Very, very happy for you, smile. It's very hard to describe what it's like to be blind if you haven't experienced it. Maybe for people who go blind at some point in their lives, it seems like darkness, but if you're blind from birth, it's more like nothingness. You just see nothing, not even darkness. I don't honestly know how to explain it. Have you looked at the wonders of the world? Even just a picture, yet I imagine it would be kinda hard to grasp without sight. Also, how was it learning to go from Braille to the English alphabet for reading? I had a private teacher who came and is still coming to my house to work with me and teach me English. It wasn't very difficult, I actually grasped it pretty quickly. Now I find it difficult to read Braille. I have seen pictures of them, yes. I don't want to make you uncomfortable and don't want to guess at your sexuality, but I'm so curious as to how it felt to see someone you were physically attracted to for the first time. Whether it was from a previous relationship or just someone at the grocery store. Was it different having a visual element? Thank you for sharing your experiences. I'm completely fascinated and will probably spend my evening researching this type of game-changing experience. My mother-in-law is deaf and has been contemplating getting a cochlear implant. Honestly, I have never dated in my life and I have never had a romantic relationship with anyone. Because of being blind, I didn't go out a lot. Didn't meet a lot of people. I was basically living in my small circle of family and friends. And I was homeschooled and probably no one would want a blind boyfriend anyway. But I'm straight, if you wanted to know that. And maybe one day I'll meet a female I'll feel that kind of attraction to. I feel like there's a having sex with the lights off joke to be made out of that, but TBH, this sparked a bit of curiosity. Would you jerk off? And if so, to what exactly? And also, how long did it take to learn to read words and numbers? I'm so happy for you. My questions are 1. when you were blind? How would you dream? Did you see things happening? Has that changed now that you can see? 2. How do you feel about colors? Could you even imagine them? Which one is your favorite? 3. Do you get overwhelmed by all there is to see? 4. Is depth perception learned or innate? 5. Did your idea of ugly change now that you can see? 1. I did dream before, but my dreams were kind of dull. I was either talking to someone on the phone or reading my braille books or hearing familiar songs. Now I dream differently. My first dream after regaining my vision was about the hospital where I got my surgery done. 2. It was very hard for me to understand what a color was. I think it's hard to explain a color to someone in a way they could picture it. You can describe objects, but describing a color is very difficult, and I mostly associated them with feelings and smells. Sunshine was yellow, the night air was blue, the Christmas tree was green, my guide dog was brown. That's how people tried to explain me that. I could picture these things in my head, but I couldn't imagine the actual color. Now I believe red is my favorite. 3. Yes. The world is much bigger than I had imagined it, and there's so much to see. When I left the hospital, my head was going to all directions because so much was happening on the streets. 4. You can train it a little bit, but it's mostly innate. 5. When I was blind, there was no such thing for me as ugly. There were textures that were unpleasant to touch, but I didn't find them ugly. Now yes, there are some things I find unpleasing to the eye. Yes. The world is much bigger than I had imagined it, and there's so much to see. When I left the hospital, my head was going to all directions because so much was happening on the streets. Do you have trouble processing what you are seeing, or is it just natural and immediately realize what you are looking at? I had at first. I had to touch things to know what they are called. Very interesting. So did you know in your head what you were looking at and couldn't remember the word for it? Or you couldn't associate the touching of an object to what you saw? I just didn't know what it was. It would be the same as if you saw something you have never seen before and had no idea what it was. For me, the idea was in my head, but I had to touch the thing for it to come out. How is your vision now? Do you require any aid? How has dating changed for you? How has your attitude toward your appearance changed? Do you exercise or try to dress fashionably now? How did you choose your clothes before? Unfortunately, I don't have 20/20 vision. That wasn't possible. The cause of my blindness was complicated, and I was only given about a 50% chance that the surgery will be successful at all. I have to wear glasses every day to sharpen my sight. I have honestly never dated before, and I'm not very interested in doing it right now. This time has been very emotional to me, and now I'm working on other things. I want to find a job, to become independent from my parents, find a living place of my own and travel. And then, maybe later I'll start to feel a need for another person. I was glad when I found out I wasn't chubby after all. Lol. I exercised before and I exercise now. I enjoy running, swimming, weightlifting. My friend is a fitness trainer and he helps me with that. I didn't choose my clothes when I was blind. How could I? I didn't see them. My mother did it for me and I just trusted her taste, because what else could I do? Now I choose clothes myself, and when I look at my old pictures, that's not very different from what I used to wear before. I wouldn't say I'm very fashionable. I like to keep it plain and simple. What's a favorite thing you've seen so far? Difficult to choose. Might be the sea. My friends took me to the seaside and told me to keep my eyes closed while they guided me down to the beach. It was so blue and huge, and it was just so much water suddenly in front of me that I got really confused. Lol. I can't wrap my head round seeing for the first time after 21 years of life. I don't want to waste your time getting philosophical, so I'll ask my question. What were things you enjoyed when blind, but now that you can see them, you don't enjoy as much, or you just look at it in a different way? No pun intended. Probably sleep. Being blind, I went to bed early and I enjoyed sleeping because I was dreaming a lot and it allowed me to escape the reality of my life that I didn't want to accept. Now I don't want to sleep so much anymore because I feel like I might miss something by passing out for 8 hours, lol. Was being blind the same as you closing your eyes now? What did being blind look like? No, it's nothing like closing your eyes. If you close your eyes, you can still see light behind your eyelids. It's very difficult to explain what's like to be blind. I can only describe it as nothingness. You just see nothing. No darkness, nothing. Maybe it's not a good explanation, but I can't find other words. It's not black. It's not darkness. It's just nothing.